Well, here in Croke Park in the aftermath of the All-Ireland Football Semi-Final, Galway 2-8, Derry 1-6 the final score. Damien Comer with 2 goals in the second half to send Galway through. It was 4 points apiece at the break, but Galway scored, I think it was 1-4 without reply at the start of the second half, and Derry just couldn't get the scores they needed. Paddy Andrews, former Dublin footballer, is with me. Paddy, before we talk about the game itself and everything that happened, there was one thing that will be talked about despite the fact that Galway won well in the end. Shane Walsh kicked a 45 at the end of the first half. Hawkeye waved it wide. It looked over. The umpire waved his white flag. We were told just before the start of the second half that it was over the bar. Now there's a couple of question marks about it because Glass had one earlier in the half, and also that would have made it 4-3. Comer scored one afterwards, and it made it 4-all, so it's kind of an odd sequence of events.
Look, I think the right thing was done, the score was given, but that is the intriguing bit about it. Everyone in the stadium thought it was a score. The umpire was very definitive in it, and Hawkeye obviously contacts the referee to pull it back. It calls into question the credibility of Hawkeye. Like Conor Glass had a point, and it was shown on Hawkeye in the stadium, and it looked like it was over the bar, and everyone thought it, and it came up as nil. There was obviously some sort of issue for that because it was clearly a point for Shane Walsh. Look, the right thing was got in the end, the score was given, but it does call into question the credibility of the system completely. So does that mean will it be even used tomorrow for Dublin and Kerry in that game as well? But look, it didn't have an overall impact on the game. Galway won convincingly in the end, but it does call into question the technology without a doubt.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll hear more about that in the coming days, and there will be a statement that regards Hawkeye and whether or not it will be used tomorrow, and in fact what went wrong today. Let's talk about what went wrong for Derry in the second half, because it was 4 points apiece at the break, but Galway managed to get their shooters into it in the second half, managed to get their scorers into it in the second half. Derry didn't. Well, Derry maybe don't have the scores that Galway have, and I guess that was the big talking point before the game. Did they have enough scores? On the evidence of today, no.
Well, that's, you always felt like Derry were going to be well organised. I thought they were a better team in the first half, but like I said, they only go in level. They start off quite well, they go 3 points up to no score. Galway don't score for the first 20 minutes of the game, and you're thinking this is literally, if Derry could hand-pick the way the game would go in the first half, that would be it. But they didn't have a lead. It didn't really show on the scoreboard. And the second half, that third quarter in particular, Galway, Shane Walsh kicks 3 big frees. He was well marshalled by Conor McCluskey. Chrissy McCaig did a brilliant job on Rob Finnerty, and you think they're the right matchups. But the big one was Brendan Rodgers lost out big time in his battle with Damien Comer, and that ultimately was probably the winning of the game. Like for Derry, they scored 1 point from play in the second half from Shane McGuigan. Only 2 other forwards. Shane McGuigan gets a point from play, and Niall Loughlin is the only other forward that scores. You always felt that was going to be an issue, that to score 1-6, like a consolation goal at the end, 6 points is not enough to win a semi-final, and you felt that. And really, once Comer got the first goal where he turns Brendan Rodgers inside out, you always felt it was going to be an uphill ask for them. But Galway were full value for it. A really good second half display. But for Derry, it's been an amazing season, but you just felt they were probably going to come up short today, and they'd be disappointed to lose in that manner. But Galway were definitely the better team in the second half, without a doubt.
I know people will say that Galway have the more natural forwards than Derry, but surely Derry just got a bit locked in their system in the second half, and they couldn't get out of it.
It was a bit conservative from Derry going forward. You felt that they were going to need to take some more risks. They were carrying the ball. To be fair, Galway were well organised, they were very fit, they got back into shape, and Derry just couldn't break them down. You looked, possibly a couple of times they could have pulled the trigger, and they were trying to work the ball, really overly patient, and particularly once Galway got in front, you felt Derry probably needed to take more risks and try and break at speed. It was just flat for Derry in the second half. Like I say, they started the game really well, but it didn't show on the scoreboard. In that second half, it just looked like they ran out of gas, really, and they weren't going to be in a position to chase the game. And Galway, to be fair, once Comer's goal goes in the third quarter, you always felt they were going to have enough to see it out, and that was the case. So really positive for Pádraig Joyce, a brilliant season for Galway. They won't be favourites. Whoever comes through tomorrow's semi-final will be red hot favourites for, but Galway, they've massive momentum behind them now, and it was a clinical display in the second half. And for Derry, like I say, the Achilles heel, we felt, would they score enough, and that was proven today, really.
As we speak, we obviously don't know who Galway will face in the All-Ireland Final. They're first since 2001. What do they need to improve on to have any chance of winning that final?
Well, look, they were clinical today, but they only scored 2-8.
They were clinical in the second half, not the first.
Half,
they took 21 minutes to get a score.
And that's the thing. Derry have a very set defensive style of play. Whoever Galway play against, whether it's Dublin or whether it's Kerry, it's going to be a more open game. It was quite a It was one for the purists today. You know, you can hear groans in the crowd. But Galway did what they had to do. So there's going to be more space. They need Rob Finnery. They need Shane Walsh. Didn't really do a lot from play today. They were probably lost out their battles. But if Galway are going to have any chance in that final, and it is going to be more open, so it's going to be more opportunity for those guys, but they're going to need those massive performances from those players. Damien Comer had a couple of knocks. He was in the wars today. They need him to rest up and recover. He was the match winner today. But Galway, a big plus and a question mark we had over them at the start of the season was that defensive system. Where are they going to be hard to play against? Where are they going to be hard to break down? And they showed that again today. They were well set up. They're very fit. Cian O'Neill, Pádraig Joyce, they're well coached. They're not going to be favourites, but they have a chance in that final, without a doubt. They have match winners in the team. Who it's going to be against, we'll have to wait and see in 24 hours. But I think the final will definitely be a more open game than what we saw today, and that will help Galway.
Do you think Galway have the defensive structure for whoever they come up against?
That's going to be the biggest question. I think that's the biggest improvement Galway have had this season. We've seen it in Castlebar in particular, and then again today. But they're going to be, whether it is Dublin or Kerry, they're two of the best forward lines in the country. Galway are going to be massively tested, but that has been a huge improvement for Galway, and it's probably a reason why they're in the All-Ireland final, that they've become a lot harder to play against, a lot harder to break down. But you know, the acid test is going to be either against Dublin or Kerry in the final. Let's
talk about Dublin and Kerry. The possibility is there that Conor O'Callaghan may not be involved in the squad. We've seen the starting 15. I don't think he's in that. They haven't released the 26. There are rumours floating around that he's not in the 26. I don't know if they're accurate or not. I don't know if you can add any or shed any light on that. But if he's missing, you actually think that's a game changer? That swings it?
I think he's that important, yeah. And no one is going to know for certain until, I'd say, 28 minutes past 3 tomorrow. Dublin fans are holding their breath. They're hoping he's going to be there. Just even as a neutral, you want to see the best players. And for me, I think Con and David Clifford are the two best forwards in the game. He is that important to Dublin. I'd be surprised if he doesn't play, and maybe it's kind of my heart over my head. Dublin will need him to play. If he's not there, I do actually think it's a game changer. It is. We've seen how important he is. Dublin just lack a little bit of spark without him. It'd be a massive ask if Con's not involved in any way, shape or form for Dublin to get over the line. I do think it's that big a call. That's why we won't know for certain. There's loads of rumours for the last 2 weeks. Fingers crossed from a Dublin perspective that he is out there.
Well, you're on with James O'Donoghue tomorrow here in Croke Park for Off the Ball. I imagine you can't wait for that. Bring food tomorrow. You learned your lesson today, didn't you?
Yeah, long day. Loads of coffee but no food. I got in late, but no.
I offered you fruit. I tried my best.
I know. I'll be well prepared tomorrow anyway. But looking forward. It's going to be a massive crowd today. Okay, the game probably didn't live up to it as much, but full house in Croke Park tomorrow as well. It's going to be an absolute cracker. And may the best team win.
And just before I let you go, Westmeath won the Tailteann Cup final. Fair result?
I think it was. Look, Cavan got their noses in front. That was a pretty cagey game as well. Scores were at a premium. Thomas Gallagher gets sent off with 8 minutes to go in normal time. Cavan are 2 points up at the time. That probably swings it. You know, Kieran Martin comes off the bench and scores a brilliant goal. And for Westmeath, I suppose overall they're probably slightly better. Cavan would be very disappointed to lose the game, and ultimately probably that red card was the seminal moment in the game. And once Westmeath got their noses in front, Cavan just couldn't get it back. And look, the Tailteann Cup's been a massive success. They were probably the two best teams from the start that you would have picked out. I thought Cavan might nick it today, but look, Westmeath, the impact off the bench and the sending off probably swung it their way, and you could see the emotion for them. It was a massive win for them, and that's what you want to see from the Tailteann Cup. I think it's been a big success, and congrats to Westmeath.
Okay, Paddy Andrews, thank you very much. If you're watching this on Saturday night, Paddy's back here in Croke Park tomorrow for Off the Ball, along with James O'Donoghue of Kerry, and of course the lads will be along with Tommy on Tuesday morning with the Football Pod, and you can check that out via all the Off the Ball social media channels. For now, thank you very much, Paddy. Thank you for watching. Galway are through to the All-Ireland Final. They're first since 2001. They've beaten Derry by 2-8, 2-1-6.